Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Collector's Edge.
And there was much rejoicing.
This is Michael.
And this is Brandon. Hey, guys.
So, we decided today what we're going to discuss is a topic that I think amongst collectors kind of gets talked about a decent amount. Like, in our world of knife collecting, a lot of us are buying and selling on the secondary market as opposed to buying, directly from makers or from knife stores and everything. So, the question becomes if you are selling or you're buying or hell trading a knife, the question becomes condition. Obviously the condition that the knife is in will reflect what price you should be either trying to buy it for or what price you're trying to sell it for.
4 hours later.
So personally, I would say like I give the categories like brand new in box, like new in box, and then if for some reason you don't have the box, but the knife is still pristine, I would call that excellent. And then obviously you have like good and fair, and then the bottom tends to be user, in my opinion. I think some people debate some of those categories, but I think the brand new in box, like new in box, and user are pretty universal for us in our community. So we're going to talk about today, what do you consider brand new in box? What do you consider like new in box? What do you consider user, and everything in between? Any thoughts on that, Brandon?
No, yeah, pretty much nailed it. I agree with the categories. But what would you say if it doesn't come in a box? If it comes in a pouch, like new in
Well, I
pouch?
mean, yeah, I mean, you see like BNIB for brand new in box, but sometimes it's BINP
Yep.
because a lot of stuff comes in a pouch. Yeah, and then I
Exactly.
mean, you have some things like Strider. I mean, it just comes in a fucking Ziploc,
Yes,
right?
it
Like,
does. As far as I'm aware,
yeah. So I mean, that I think falls under the category of like where you can't really call it brand new in box. You can just call it excellent or excellent, good, fair, whatever, what have you.
You're right.
And but before we get into that, motherfucker, what is in your pocket?
Yes. So for today, actually, before I show it, you guys probably don't know this about me, but I know Michael does. Sometimes I'll use a random number generator to pick my carry, and today's RNG knife is the ZT0562. This guy's
Mm.
a Hinder design, and obviously this is the titanium model. Just when I first got this knife, it was essentially the peak of my collection. I just really love this knife, which got me into Hinderers themselves. Probably have more Hinderers than any other knife in the collection. And I believe this was modeled after the XM18. And but in a lot of ways, I do really enjoy this guy, such as the action, the sounds of it, the feel in hand, just an overall great knife. How about yourself, Michael? What's in your pocket?
Well, so I actually have two in my pocket today. I'll start with this first one. This is actually something that a girl that I see, she got me this for Hanukkah. It's kind of a little joke knife. It's this company called Dijo, I think is how you pronounce it. I think they're French actually, but they do different little like printings on the blades, which are kind of fun. And I didn't know this until she got me this, but you can also do like a little engraving on the other side when you open that you'll see when you open the blade. So she got engraved. I don't know if you can read that or not, but it says "You fucking whore."
I thought
so
that's what it said.
so that's pretty funny. I love it because it says "you fucking whore," and I think that's great.
That's
Weird
awesome.
little knife. I mean, I haven't not cut anything with it. It is definitely, it's kind of either a two-handed opener because there's nothing to really grab onto. I kind of wondered if I could front flip it. Maybe if it was looser, I could, but it ain't front flipping for me. But it's kind of a cool little fun little knife. It's actually doesn't feel that bad in the pocket. I mean, I wouldn't try to be chopping wood with this thing or
Yeah,
anything like
all
that,
right.
but it's kind of fun. I actually kind of really whatever the hell this is. It might be titanium. It actually feels kind of good, to be honest with you.
Looks
But
good. Does it
yeah,
have a pocket clip on it?
it does have a pocket clip,
Oh, whoa. There it
and
is.
it's tipped down. Which honestly, the other way I can't really do this on camera because I don't have room, but I can like grab it by here if I'm pulling it out of the pocket and like slap it down
Mm,
and open it like that. But yeah, it's kind of cool though.
yeah.
So that's one of the ones in my pocket. The other one, this is actually a Kaiser, which I don't really have many of or carry many of. This model is called the Homo. No, I'm sorry. the Momo. That's a different one. But it to me it's a steak knife. This
Yes.
should be you should be cutting steak with this because at a restaurant because it looks like a steak knife with a fancy handle. It's a cool little knife. Or well, actually, there's nothing little about this. You can kind of tell, but this is actually a kind of a pretty damn big knife. Actually, it's probably at least in the 9-inch range.
That's what she said.
So that's in the pocket too. So back to the topic, back to knives.
Finally!
I'll start by asking you, what do you? I mean, I guess like when it comes to brand new
Yeah, I think
box,
that's pretty self-explanatory,
yeah,
right?
so I guess really the question would be,
I would say definitely unopened. I think. Would you agree?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
unopened is absolutely brand new in
absolutely.
box.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, what if you take it out for pictures? Is that brand new in box?
so okay, and here's where I think everything gets real debatable, and this is where I really would like to hear back from you guys that are listening. Oh, and speaking of you guys that are listening, please like and subscribe. I feel like if you take it out for pictures, and you maybe like open it and close it, like I don't know, I maybe under 100 times. I don't know.
Yeah.
And basically no damage is done. I personally would say it still could be considered brand, maybe hundreds a bit much, maybe 50. Um, I
Yeah,
think it still could be considered brand new in box.
that's a
To
tough one
me,
because I mean I think you can get depending on the opening mechanism and if it's like has the locking lugs or thumb studs that act as locking lugs, you can get some wear on the handles or especially if it's like anode or something or the scales are
mm,
coated. You think? I guess you're right.
okay.
Case by case, but yeah, if you can visibly see it, or I guess maybe even if it's a lock bar and you get wear and you can see visible wear on it, what would you say then?
So anywhere,
Yeah.
and it becomes either like new in box or it becomes even potentially further down than that, in my opinion. So like to me, the main difference between brand new in box and like new in box would be exactly what you just said, some
Right.
type of wear. Because I mean, if you think about the actual words, like new means like it's close, but it ain't quite there,
Right.
and but so basically, if the knife is still unaltered, I feel like that. I mean, like, okay, let's take this for example. Someone buys a knife. So they buy, we'll just say like a Rosie. They get it straight from Oz. They put it in a display that has a cover, and it literally sits there for 3 years, and it does nothing else but sit there for 3 years. They go to sell it, it would be in the exact same condition that you would get from Oz, right? Now there are some people I think that would say anytime it has left the maker and gone to someone else, it will not be brand new in box ever again. Hell, I've even heard some people say if it's been flipped, it is no longer brand new in box, which I would combat that with the makers flipping it, right? So like they're not gonna just like make it and not even test it, right? So like you could not say a knife is unflipped. So like there's really no such thing as like completely unused because if nothing else the maker did it, right? So I think that negates the whole thing of it couldn't have been opened or flipped at all.
Right.
But like you said before, like if it shows any signs of wear at all, you now crossed over into like new in box or below.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, hearing you just say that and thinking about it just now, I think I might go with how you described a lot of other people might go with it. I think if you do take it out and you flip it even 5, 10 times, you're now in like new territory.
Okay.
But
And what do you think would be the difference that makes it now like new as opposed to brand new?
yeah, I think brand new, regardless of what happens at the manufacturer, would be as kind of we discussed in the beginning. There was unopened, and I'm not 100% sure where I would sit if you took it out for pictures and opened it slowly and carefully. Maybe I don't know. Maybe even then it would be like new in box. But definitely, I think just for the definition of the word in my mind, I think unopened would be brand new in box. As soon as you open it, take it out, do anything, get your greasy fingers on it after eating some pizza, you're like new in box now. And then I guess if you do put any kind of wear on it from there, you start stepping down into the excellent, the good, and then as you mentioned, the carry.
So for you then, the actual condition of the knife doesn't really play into it, or it doesn't have to play into it, whether it's brand new in box or like new in box.
I think so, at least between those two levels, and then from there, then the condition is what determines the levels from there. I guess in my mind,
Okay.
like new in box and brand new in box, the only difference that, in my mind by the definition of the words as I think about them is that it's unopened and from the manufacturer.
There is a justifiable argument that if you just flip it a handful of times, you've actually done less with the knife than the manufacturer did. So that's
Yeah.
why I think it really comes down to like the actual condition. But
Right.
that's me. So that's just where we
Yeah.
differ on that one. So okay, let's say we're now out of brand new in box. Now we're getting into like new in box. What separates like new in box to say excellent?
Yeah. I
Or would
guess.
you consider excellent brand new in box just excellent would be if it doesn't have a box?
No, I think there's a difference there. I guess, at least in my mind, I guess if someone told me excellent, I could see maybe a pocket clip scuff that you can only see in certain lights type deal, like something
Okay.
like that. Very lightweight. What's the separator for yourself?
Well, so that one's a little harder for me.
That's what she said.
I think like maybe you could still call it excellent. I think I might adopt kind of your thinking on it. Like I think that if like not like a scuff like those type of scuffs like you mentioned where like the lighting has to hit it just
Right.
right and then you can see it. That I think might actually constitute excellent at that point.
Excellent.
But anything that's like visible, um, just with like a slight glance, like at that point
Right.
you're definitely out of excellent.
Right.
You're
Or you
you're
can
at
feel
getting
it.
to like
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can feel that scratch. Yeah, definitely out of excellent at that point.
Here's the thing, we've been kind of talking about like visual stuff like that. Um what about if somebody has used the knife to cut? Like let's say someone has used the knife to cut, but not to the point to where it has altered the sharpness of the blade.
Ooh, that is a tough one too. There's different types of cutting shit, right? I would say, at least I can say personally, I do use my knives. Like for example, I've used this knife, but I mean that looks pretty fucking good. And when I say use it, I'm basically the guy who uses his knife to cut open the box for the next knife.
Yeah,
Definitely a
yeah.
collector at heart, but I do carry and use them. But where are you leaning on that one?
So I would say if you've cut with it, like like a lot of people will do like they get a knife, they do the paper test cut, right?
Right, right.
Like so if you do that, I feel like a lot of people in the community overlook or close a blind eye to the paper cut. It's like, oh, that's expected. Like you
Right.
still claim that like, oh, it's never cut anything. I
Right.
personally do not do that. If I tell somebody that it's been uncut, yeah, that literally means that's not even cut a piece of paper.
Agreed.
Which honestly makes me wonder, like, I wonder how dull some of my knives are because they've literally never cut a damn thing. Um,
Yeah, don't sharpen knives. I
so
just get a new knife.
yeah, I remember one time. This is kind of a funny story. There's one time I was making a video for a guy trying to show him, the details of the knife, and as I was saying, like, it's literally never cut anything at all. As I was saying that, I cut myself with the fucking knife. And I was like, well, okay, so now it's cut something.
Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
The timing was just really funny because it literally was like as it was coming out of my mouth is when I sliced myself, and I was like, oh, there we go. But
User.
anyway, like I said, for me personally, if you've cut something with it, but it has not altered the sharpness that it came from the manufacturer, I think you can still be in the excellent category
I
at
think I
that
agree
point.
with you. Yeah, agreed.
Now, if it if it has altered the sharpness at all, and I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about like the microscopic level, but like on the kind of the more like true level, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah, I honestly I feel like if you turn the blade on its side, like this, and you can see shiny spots up in there where a little bit of a flat spot, and I guess kind of going back to visually again in my eyes, I'm definitely a visual person, but seeing if you can't tell that it's been used, there's no damage to the blade, the edge is just as pretty as it came out of the box. I think I'm with you that that's still in excellent condition
Yeah,
even though it's been quote unquote used.
yeah, I think that's pretty justifiable. And but once again, like we have mentioned before, the people that are watching this video, man, I want to hear what you guys have to say
Absolutely.
too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this one, I mean, really all the topics we're going to talk about, but this one in particular, I'm super interested to get the community's view on this. So okay, let's move on from there. So now we've started going down the scale. We've gotten to excellent. Now what do we have to do this knife to where it's no longer excellent, it's now good?
Well, you know what? I think I've been going first. You tell me your thoughts first.
So I guess I would say like couple things that would make it to where you're now in good territory. Any visible scuffs like
For sure.
and I'm not talking like a crazy gouge. I mean just like
Hmm.
but like we are talking about a legitimate scratch where it doesn't need to be in like the exact right angle and the exact right lighting, like just like you
Right.
can see it, like it's a scratch. That to me would we definitely are in the territory of good as long as it's not like completely gouged, like I mentioned. If the blade maybe not it's like dull as a butter knife, but if it could stand to be sharpened, I would say that definitely would put you in the good category.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, sharpened, maybe not damage to the blade itself. Well, maybe light scratches in certain lights, but needs a sharpening. You have a scuff or two, snail trail on the pocket clip. You obviously carried it. Um, you flipped it. It's broken in, nice and smooth. Yeah, definitely in good condition, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like we kind of agree
Yeah.
on good.
It's good. It's good.
It's good. What about fair? What would you call fair?
Trying to think in my mind, do I separate fair from user? They might be the same category in my mind. Sharpened a couple times, once or twice, even. Some definitely scuffs. You can look at it and instantly tell, yeah, that knife has been used. I think that would be, in my mind, a fair/user knife. How about you?
So I think I would agree with you on that. I will say this though. This is one distinguishing point. If you have a knife that has legitimately been put through hell, like let's say
Yeah.
someone has some type of like manual labor job where and I mean like and they've used it multiple times a day and it has just been like it has really been used. I
Use
would
and
not call
abuse,
that fair. That
put
is
away wet type
definitely
shit. Yeah.
user. Yeah, like so basically I'll put it like this, is the best way I can put it. You can call something that would be considered fair a user also, but there crosses a line where like you can call something a user, but you cannot call it fair
I
anymore.
agreed. Agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
down, it's way down
Yeah, I
the
ran it over
bracket, so
with
to
my
speak.
truck
Like,
type shit. Yeah.
yeah, like so it could either be like dull as shit, or like it's been sharpened so many times to where, you can visibly see where, like, especially if that's like a sharpening tool, you can visibly see where, like, the blade is starting to shrink. You know what I mean? Like, it is literally starting to shrink a couple millimeters because it had to be
Right.
sharpened so many times.
Looks like
Like
a fillet
that's
knife
definitely
now.
getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's getting into user territory. I'm super curious to know what other people would say about
Just read
that.
my mind. Yeah. So I actually have a curveball for you.
All
So,
right,
so
I got a
let
curveball for you too. You go
okay.
first.
So let's say we got this hawk shortcut, for example, and I will say that this is probably my most carried knife. It's maybe not the primary carry in my pocket most days, but it's usually in my back pocket, at least as a secondary. But we talked about damage to the blade, but what happens when you have one with a replaceable blade that you're constantly using? And you might have a little scuffs on the pocket clip here. As I mentioned, I carry this in my back pocket, and my fat ass sitting down in chairs and shit, have obviously scuffed it up a little bit, maybe even more so than you can tell on video. What category would you throw this guy in? And
So
let's say that there was even rust on this blade, even being a replaceable blade. Does that come into play for you?
okay, so couple things. Number one, because I don't own one. When you buy one from Hawk, do they give you a blade or multiple blades?
They do give you a blade. When I got this one, I did not get multiples, but I did get this on the secondary. So I'm not 100% sure. I believe you do not get any secondary blades. But I got these guys super cheap on Amazon, kind of look like Damascus, but is really just lasered. So I have no problems pulling this guy out and using him, which is kind of the beauty of her.
Yeah, so I would say, well, I mean, I'll say this. I think if you did not have the scuffs on it, um, but you used it, but it did not hurt the actual shortcut. It only hurt the razor blade, and it was replaced. Um, I mean, that would be pretty. It definitely. I mean, I think it definitely would be like new in box.
Yeah. Now,
Maybe like, I
what if
mean, maybe not brand new in box, but definitely it should be like new in box. But now with you having the scuffs, I think that
Yeah, you also get, just to point out, a little bit of wear as you open and close it on this little lock bar guy here. So that's a wear
okay.
point. But outside of that, and maybe just as quickly to say that on some of these early models, the blade has been known to hit the back of the handle there. So some of them you might catch a little divot in the quote unquote backspacer area where the blade is kept tapping it as you close it. But that's a fixable solution or issue, and but just to throw that out there. So there are some wear points, but just wanted to throw that before you make your call.
Yeah, so I didn't know that, right? So, because like I said, I don't have one. Knowing that, then I think that, especially especially with as much use as you've had with it, definitely not like new in box. And I probably have to like inspect it in person to decide whether or not I think it could be excellent or good at that point.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, from what I've seen of it, I think, I don't know. You're probably. I don't think you're quite in good territory, but you're like you're getting close. You're getting pretty close
well,
to.
thankfully, I'm not trying to
Yeah,
sell
you're at the
it, so.
bottom rung of excellent right there. Like one more little visible anything, and
Oh boy.
you might be good. That's what I would call. But what about you? Give me your thoughts on it.
No, I think I'm with you there. I think I would put this in the excellent to good range. And of course, everything about it, if I were to sell this, would be disclosed to the seller,
Yeah,
everything I
and
can
that's
see,
the important
and
thing,
let
right?
them make that
That's
call, yeah, right?
ultimately. Yeah, yeah. That's the. I think I guess we've been talking so far with kind of with the assumption that all the stuff should be, even if, and I mean, like, I mentioned before about like I think a lot of guys like won't necessarily mention a paper cut.
Right.
And for the most part, I think the community is relatively okay with being like, oh yeah, I'm sure you cut paper with it, or something like that. But I personally think you should disclose everything. That's just my take
Absolutely.
on it.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so here's my curveball I'm throwing at you.
All right, I'm ready.
I know some guys that do this. They get a brand new knife from the maker. They determine that they don't feel like the edge feels like I'm not even saying they didn't cut with it, but maybe they just like run their thumb across it. They're like, that's not that great of an edge. I can do better. And let's even say they're very experienced sharpeners, like not on a professional level, but let's say they're like, these guys know what the
Right.
fuck they're doing.
Right.
I know some guys that they will immediately put their own edge on it. It kind of really doesn't matter how dull or sharp it is from the maker. They just kind of feel like their edge is better. I know some guys that automatically put a mirror edge on
Right.
it
Yep.
because they just like the way it looks and everything, even if it's never going to cut anything.
Right.
So if somebody does that, where would you put that one?
Oh, that definitely, in my mind, obviously drops them out of brand new inbox, drops
Yeah.
them out of like new inbox, in my opinion, into the excellent range.
Okay. So you would say that if any sharpening is done, you're out of like new in box. Let me throw this one at you. what if technically their sharpening made it the better knife? Because let's say, like, I mean, like, I'm not going to name any names, but like,
Oh yeah.
there's some makers that are kind of a little notorious for not necessarily putting the best edge on their knives. So,
Mm-hmm.
what if what they did to it is an upgrade? Like, in all reality.
Oh, I have no doubt that is the case, and I'm sure we could name names if we really wanted to. But I guess it comes down to, how did it come from the maker? Regardless if it was dull or didn't have an edge on it at all, and you put one on there, you modified the knife, you altered it. It is now not like new, because that is not how it came to you new. So at least in my mind.
Well, so for you, you would say that it is more important for you that it is closer to how the maker had it than it being like better per se.
In my mind, yeah, I think that's how I would split them. Now, does that, alter how much I would personally want it? I might want it more that it's now you have that beautiful mirror edge on it when it came
Yeah.
out all shitty and gross. But yeah, I guess but as far as the categories go, that's where I'd throw her. What are your thoughts?
So I think I can agree with you on that. I think but you might be right about like the pricing part, right? So like generally I kind of think as you start going down the scale from brand new in box to lower categories, the price of the knife comparatively to table should start dropping. But
Agreed.
this might be one of the cases where like maybe not. Like
Yeah.
maybe not. Maybe I'll give you another example that's similar. Like similar to someone putting a better edge than the maker did. Like what if somebody installs skiff bearings and the skiff bearings are superior to what the knife originally came with? By the way, shout out to skiff bearings and skiff made blades.
Hells yeah.
Love you guys.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah, let's say if someone does that, and I mean I think that like most people would agree that like as far as bearings go, really hard to beat skiff, and they are typically an upgrade to just about anything. So if someone installs that, okay, so we can no longer call it like new in box.
I think in my mind, yeah, I think it's in out of like new. It's in. I mean, you definitely had to take it apart, depending on
Yeah.
how good tools you use, what the hardware now looks like after you got your grubby hands on her, and how well you put her back together. Granted, it's not rocket science, but yeah, you obviously again took her apart, and I think most people would agree. After if you take a knife apart, it's no longer like new. I don't know. Am I? You think I'm stepping out there, or would you agree with that?
No, I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, now okay, but now let me ask you this. Let's say you send it to the maker to have something done to it.
Oh. Now,
Maker's going to take it apart. Is
all
it
right.
is this is
Ooh,
a conversation I had with somebody else one time. Like
you know,
as long as it's done by the hands of the maker, is it like now it no longer counts?
I don't. In my mind, no. I think it is just as no longer like new, regardless of who's touched it after that point.
Okay.
What about you? You think it's still like new? Doesn't count if it's the maker.
Yeah, it's a hard one because I'll put it like this. I don't necessarily think that if the maker does something, it is that different than someone who has been taking apart knives for a very long time. Hell, maybe longer than the maker, depending on who the
Right.
maker is, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or like even like a modder, like a professional modder. And I guess like you kind of get into like what's a professional modder.
I guess in my mind, that separation is are people paying you for your work? you know.
So yeah, that okay. It's funny you say that. That when me and the other person talked about this, that was one of the things that it came down to. Is like technically, by most definitions, when you've become a professional, when you're a pro, you're getting paid for something. Anything that you're not getting paid for is amateur. That being
Right.
said, I don't know if I would call like I wouldn't say all modders are created equal in that respect, right? So
Absolutely.
like so they might all be pros, but doesn't mean they're really on the same level. But yeah, it's interesting. You said even the maker, anyone that's disassembled it, it's no longer because I think that some people would think that almost anything the maker does to it gives it a get out of jail free card, so to
They
speak.
can do no wrong. Though, what if you
Yeah.
sent it in for a spa treatment after you just put her through the ringer?
I mean, I guess like that's a good question.
Does it come back like new? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes back like the day that you originally got it, I mean
Maybe.
that I mean that's hard to I would be curious to hear what people have to say,
Right.
arguments against why that is not brand new in box, other than it just wasn't that way originally. But
Right.
but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, because I think that a lot of this stuff, kind of like what you were saying before about how to you the condition of the knife doesn't really have to do it. It's just more like the knowledge that something has been done to it. Like that seems like that type of thing is in that respect then is to some degree kind of more in your head than really necessary. And I don't mean that in like a a shitty way, but like it's more about like what's in your head than the actual condition of
Right.
the knife or the kind of, I don't want to say the reality of the knife, but kind of sort of,
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure, like I think we mentioned earlier, it probably comes down to the individual as well. I
yeah,
definitely, and I think you'd agree. I'm personally coming at it from more of a collector standpoint, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
more less so as a hard user on the field. Hey, this knife is between life and death kind of shit.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, definitely from a collector's standpoint, that kind of stuff matters more so than to a different user, right?
Hopefully we'll have people that will chime in.
And yeah, like you said, definitely wanting your guys' feedback. My goal and kind of dream for this channel, and I'm not sure if you'd agree. I think you would. Is it would be awesome to actually, live stream and have you guys there to have these discussions in person live. But obviously, looking to build that following. So
Yeah,
please like, subscribe, and hopefully we can get there.
yeah. Well, everyone have a great night, and hope you enjoyed it, and please tell your knife friends.
Yes, you guys have a good one. Take care.
Bye.